one hand, you're calling this Citrus County teacher, her podcast, racist and terrifying. On the other hand, though, the podcast is being called freedom of speech. Regardless, the school district says it has no choice but to take Diana Voletich out of the classroom.
An investigation into that teacher is now underway, and we'll break down that for you in just a minute. But first, Phil Buck is here. And Phil, this teacher's comments have stirred up a lot of trouble both for her and for Citrus County today.
All right, that's an understatement. And I've spent quite a bit of time today listening to this podcast, Katie, and not just this episode. I went back and looked at previous episodes as well. Let's start with that. It's called Unapologetic with Tiana Dalichov, which is her pseudonym. Her real name is Diana Voletich, as Alison just said. And let's just start. Let me play a bit of the podcast just so you can hear it for yourself.
I get to talk about topics that people don't like to talk about. The things they shy away from because of political correctness. They don't want to be seen as bigoted, racist, whatever you want to call it. I honestly don't care.
It's kind of funny because today it looks like she kind of cares.
She might care, yeah.
Right, yeah, exactly. Now that little snippet was taken from the pilot episode of this podcast, which was just released about a month ago. They put out 5 full episodes in total, and they're supposed to have a new episode out every Monday, but no new episode today. We don't know if that's related to all of this controversy or not. I did reach out. I have not gotten a response.
Okay, so what do we know about this teacher and exactly what she said that has people so upset right now, Phil?
Well, this has become a serious investigation for the Citrus County School District. Our reporter, Eric Glasser, was in Citrus County today. He's going to tell you all about that in just a minute. In the meantime, though, I've been looking into who this teacher is, what kinds of things that she's talked about on her podcast and on social media. I can tell you she's 25 years old. Before she started this podcast, she appeared on a few YouTube channels and some podcasts that are hosted by white nationalists and alt-right figures. She is extremely critical of Islam. And
we're going to go into this a little bit more in just a bit, right? We're going to talk a little bit more about the content.
Absolutely. You're going to hear directly from this episode that's got her in so much hot water.
Okay. All right, Phil, thanks.
Again, an investigation is underway into this teacher. 10 News reporter Eric Glasser talked with people who knew the teacher, including those who work and learn at the school district.
No answer at the house of Crystal River Middle School teacher Diana Voletich, suddenly very apologetic now that her weekly podcast titled Unapologetic has been exposed. Voletich removed from the classroom while the school district investigates troubling racist comments the 25-year-old teacher allegedly made under the pseudonym Tiana Dalichov. Neighbors shocked.
She's very nice neighbor. Just say hi, say hi, and that's it.
In a statement, Voletich claims her podcasts and alter ego were political satire designed to build an audience. Her same alias used in appearances on fringe YouTube channels, but months of racist rambling on Twitter, Facebook, even her own podcast don't have a lot of people laughing.
How sensitive things are, I don't think that was an appropriate action, even with freedom of speech.
You shouldn't have any biases when you're a teacher. You should love everybody.
At Crystal River Middle School, students say the story is all over campus.
There's this group of kids that's just all over it on their phone, sitting at this table, just all over it, sharing it with other friends and stuff.
In a recent podcast with an alt-right media host, Voletich talks about white superiority.
So many other researchers have already looked into this. And that's just the way it is. There are races that have higher IQs than others.
She also talks about more people with such views infiltrating the school system to spread their message, describing it as a war for young minds.
It's not nearly as, bloody as a battlefield, but it's pretty darn close.
And Voletich even admits that she acts and teaches differently when her bosses aren't around.
So I'm getting a little bit more underhanded as to, how I deal with it.
We wanted to know what parents want to know. How is it possible that the district hadn't heard about this before it was brought to their attention by the Huffington Post? Well, it turns out parents had raised concerns.
And I had one at the beginning of this year who emailed the principal over my head and basically, told her, I'm worried that your teacher is she's injecting political bias into her teaching. And the principal came to me and she was like, I'm not worried. Should I be worried? And I'm like, no.
Today, the school district's executive director told me the school received a previous concern from a parent in August. That issue was resolved at the school level. However, we are looking into the facts concerning that issue, and it is now part of this investigation.
I'm not necessarily mad, but I'm more upset.
We definitely don't need this in our community. We're a good, strong community, and we need to keep things like this out of our community.
In Crystal River, Eric Glasser, 10 News.
Alex, some are saying that this is awful. Some are just saying that it's a different viewpoint, but that's really just scratching the surface of what you're seeing online today about this.
Right. I've been taking a look at the comments on Facebook, and I'm seeing very strong reaction either way. Let me show you just a few of those right now. For Allison, this hit close to home. As someone who has kids in the Crystal River schools, this is terrifying. It's equally terrifying seeing the support she got locally. Some people don't see the problem. Glad this was exposed. Jeff promised another district about to be sued over free speech. Mark my words on this one. Alan sarcastically posted, teachers should not be allowed to corrupt a child's mind with their political views unless it's a Democrat teacher and the corruption is of a liberal nature. Finally, Keeley said, I don't care what people think. White nationalists are not sane and are not fit for modern society. Now, we want to know what you think about this. Head to our Facebook page and share your thoughts as well. Just search 10 News WTSP.